You're well aware that we have macronutrients that we can use for energy. We have carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. In the presence of carbohydrates, that is basically a preferred energy source because they're easily burned. That's called oxidative priority. In the presence of carbs, fat, and protein, we'll burn carbohydrates first. We will burn protein last because we use protein in situations of starvation. So where does that leave fat? Well, the only way we can burn fat is in the presence of low carbohydrates, which is low insulin. Okay? So the only time we can burn fat, which makes ketones, is in the environment of a low carbohydrate intake. Okay? Now, let's switch gears. You all know that heart attacks can be caused by narrowing of arteries, like plaque. They can also be caused by having a blood clot that blocks an artery. Okay? You've also heard that you can get a stress heart attack. How does that happen? There's rarely any narrowing. There's no blood clot in sight, but yet we have a heart attack. That stress thing is real, you guys. And what I'm talking about when we talk about stress is we're talking about the autonomic nervous system. A sympathetic part of the nervous system, which is the fight or flight, the activation, and then the parasympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system, which is the relaxation. And we want to have a balance between the two. But in most modern states of the human right now, we are in constant stress mode, okay? And we have an imbalance between the stress mode, sympathetic, and the not stressful situation, parasympathetic, the calming. Why is that? Well, just one reason. You know that things are in our environment are like way out of hand, or we act as if they're way out of hand. But what if it's as simple as our diet? So when we eat carbohydrates, and we eat them all the time, they produce reactive oxygen species. They are oxidized faster than the other macronutrients, producing a lot of reactive oxygen species. When we have a lot of ROSs, that leads to oxidative stress. Oxidative stress leads to inflammation. Okay, what neutralizes reactive oxygen species? One thing is nitric oxide. It just so happens that nitric oxide is needed to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. If we are using our nitric oxide to neutralize reactive oxygen species, it is not available to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So you can see that without nitric oxide, because it's being used to neutralize the carbohydrate reactive oxygen species, we are going to be activating the sympathetic nervous system all the time without going into the parasympathetic nervous system. That balance is off, and it's called decreased vagal tone. The vagus nerve is needed, and we can talk about that in later videos. But just know that one of the mechanisms of having a stress heart attack is the fact that we overeat carbohydrates, leading to reactive oxygen species, and using up all of the nitric oxide that should be needed to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Confusing? Yes. But we can talk more about this on our live streams, but I just thought I would bring it up. Should we maybe think about eating a ketogenic diet? Yes. Have a great day, you guys. See ya.